Yo, 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 Matthew Blunt. This is ULMX, Universal Language Media Exchange. Our mission is to make practicing speaking new languages fun. This time, we're doing a reaction to a cool video by Antoinette Emily about difficult words for native English speakers to pronounce in the German language. Doesn't matter if you're a Kiwi, an Aussie, a United States of American, or a Brit. Why do United States of Americans have to have such a hard name to get off the tongue? Wow, what a long name. Anyway, let us know what you think about the list in the comments down below. So here's the list. You got a slew of R's, CH's, and umlauts, and Schlittschuhlaufen. I'm going to leave Schlittschuhlaufen alone. That's just a tongue twister. There's no need to dive into that one. But these other words mostly have these same sounds repeating. And these are the sounds that us native English speakers have a lot of trouble pronouncing, just generally. Almost all of us have these same trip-ups. By far the most common two sounds here are umlauts, which is really 3 different letters, and CH. And both of these are very typical, but I'm not going to go into practical tips so much. I'll share some practical tips. I don't want to hawk on the sounds so much as talk about how we can best practice here. I want to talk about slowing down and getting back to the fundamentals and really just focusing on how we learn the sounds so that we can learn them the best. By the end of this video, I hope you're a little bit better at conquering some of these common trip-ups in German. You'll be making better umlauts, better CHs, better Rs. You'll be getting into the learning zone more. You'll be smashing the like button, subscribing, and I really just hope you're really excited by the end of this video to slow down and focus on technique and focus on the fundamentals. I want to share a little story. I recently began practicing typing, just deliberately, because I realized I type so much in my life, I need to get faster at it. And there's this thing called touch typing, which is you don't look at the keys, you just use your fingers to feel around where you are and hit the buttons. And there are tons of websites that will help you practice. And what I saw was my words per minute would go up a lot more if I practiced slowly. I would get faster the slower I practiced. My mother can do like 180 words per minute. And I have to really be honest with myself and say, I am terrible at typing. I had no idea how much room for improvement there was. And that was why it took me about a year to learn the umlauts. I didn't know how much I didn't know. I didn't want to admit that I still had alphabet letters to learn. I was too macho. I didn't want to take the time to go back to the basics. It took me over a year to learn the umlauts. I'm not the brightest. I could have done that much more quickly if I deliberately drilled them, if I practiced a lot more deliberately. Eventually I realized I have no idea. I had to laugh. I had to give up. I was just like listening to things going over my head, laughing about not having a clue what the difference between oo and ü is. I had to just laugh. I gave up. I started saying 12 instead of 12 because I couldn't hear it. And that was when I started to improve. When I just gave up and said, all right, I'm starting from zero. I have no idea. What are umlauts? I read this cool book one time called Journeys of Socrates by Dan Millman. It's about this guy who goes on a quest and he wants to learn martial arts and he wants to become a warrior or whatever. But he finds a master and the guy won't teach him. He spends 3 years sweeping a monastery, and then when he finally starts to fight, the first punch takes 1 entire hour. It's in pure super slow motion. And by the end, he's an incredible fighter. It just goes to show. It's just like the typing where the slower you type, the faster you get. I don't know why that is. There's no shame in being a beginner. Even experts in many aspects are not that good at the basics sometimes. Because when you're an expert, you don't spend much time practicing the fundamentals anymore, do you? I read a book by RZA. It's called Tao with a Wu. RZA is the producer from the Wu-Tang Clan. This guy has sold millions of albums, made millions of dollars, had dozens of hits. And he said in it that he read a book designed for an audience in kindergarten and he learned something from it. So let's go through this whole list of words. I'm not going to tell you how to pronounce it best. That's for a German to do. What I'm going to do is tell you how I pronounce them and what I focus on most, what I find most difficult about each word. I agree with this whole list. These are words that not only come up all the time, but they are tricky. And I do think they all require a considerable amount of attention and concentration. Zuhören. I focus mostly on the Ö, I think. I think I still have to give a lot of attention to umlauts. It's kind of still a weakness. It's definitely still a weakness. It's the same deal with Brötchen. I really prefer to say Brötchen, or I used to for a while. Now it sounds weird, but I used to always just say Brötchen, I think. I don't know. I never really noticed. I never knew it had a Bröt. I never knew it had an Ö, but it does. And apparently I might have even been saying it right, but I didn't even know I didn't even notice really what I was saying. Brötchen. Okay, anyway. Eichhörnchen. I would say I also focus on the Ö in this one. I think that's the hardest one, but it's in a sandwich of these CHs, so it sounds really foreign. Not to mention there's an R in the middle of the it's like yeah, it's the CH umlaut O sandwich there. That's a toughie. Everyone knows that's a hard word. All Germans, they know too. They struggle too. 20. For me, the Z, because I have a tendency to just do a normal American Z instead of a T. And not saying 20 was really hard for me, especially a while ago. Recently, it's gotten easier, but I still give most of my attention to that Z at the beginning. Yeah, it's like kind of weird. You go it's a weird little combination with the Z and the W together. 20. Yeah. It's foreign to me. The G at the end could definitely trick you, because if you're trying to say 20, that's hard to say. And that's wrong. You want to definitely give it the K sound at the end. Or I'm in South Germany and we say here. So 20, 30. We don't say 20 so much. I don't hear that much ever. I mean, it can happen. It's pretty easy to accidentally do a K sound when doing the CH. If you're not pushing too much air through, your mouth can just kind of close on its own by accident. Like the CH gap just drops shut, and then this guillotine comes out and it's like comes out as a K. But I don't know what the official way is there with the G, but I think it's kind of umstritten, you know? I think it's kind of debatable. Is it a CH or is it a G with a K ending? I like the CH personally. It's more comfortable on my mouth. Frucht. I just messed it up. So the R. The R is definitely my hardest one. And it's kind of, I don't know, with the FR sound, it's hit or miss still. Still hit or miss for me. Sometimes I drop the ball on the R. But that R, if you don't get that R at the beginning, it kind of falls apart. I like the CH sound, but that was definitely something that when I first started learning the language, I asked so many questions about CH. I was like in utter fascination when I learned that this was a new sound I could make. Like, not ch, like ch, that's different. Ch is different. You see the difference between ch and h? I was like, okay. Because I had been practicing Dutch, and in the back of your throat, you do something similar. So ch is all the way at the front in your teeth, h is in the middle over your tongue. And I had been practicing Dutch, and I thought I was a boss because I had figured out how to do the thing in the back of the throat with the G. Yeah. So if I ever have to learn Arabic, it's already in my vocab. Überwachung. I definitely focus on the U. It's, for me, umlaut season. U. And then, I don't know, what's strange about that is how that CH just turned into one of those G's like I was just doing. Überwachung. But I want to say Überwachung, but it's kind of hard to get it. So, I don't know. So, yeah, I would say the CH too. Schlittschuhlaufen, it's just a tongue twister. The slower I say it, the better. But I would rather just say Skifahren. Different sport though. Ähnlich. I've focused mostly on the beginning of the word because for a very long time I just said ähnlich. And I didn't realize it's got quite a long beginning. That H means something. And if you want to get that longness, you got to take your time at the beginning. Ähnlich. Über. I know I said on Überwachung, I pay mostly attention to the CH and the U, but with über, I'm kind of obsessed with the R at the end. It's like, am I doing that right? Have I satisfied my requirements to get a nice R on the end of that? Über. Or am I just saying über, which is a bit lazy? Sometimes I don't know. Röntgen. What did I just say? I didn't even pronounce that right. I just threw a CH in the middle there. Röntgen. That's a hard, that word is such a pain. And that word stinks. I mean, I'm sure it's somebody who invented it or discovered it or whatever, and we just say X-ray in English, and his name was neither Ray nor X, and his name was probably like Jan Röntgen or something. Look, I just did it again with the CH and the G position. I find that a tongue twister. It's actually more of a throat twister, but I would focus most on that R, just trying to get a good start to it, because without the good start, the whole thing falls apart, and even if you have that, you still don't have a guaranteed success on that. The G's tempting to go for a G, and when you go for the G, look what just happened to me. But that G should be a K, so like Röntgen, that's easier, that's much easier, but I don't like it, kind of, like even when I say Guten Tag, I don't really admit to myself that that G is a K sound, Tag, but it is 100%. Guten, that G is G, but Tag, Röntgen, I'm pretty sure that's more correct. Röntgen, yeah. Well, now I'm going to start focusing on the G, I guess, because apparently that's the hardest part. That's the part that's really flipping me upside down. I feel like I'm getting thrown off a tube. I feel like I'm getting bucked off a Bronco when I hit that G. Röntgen. Yeah, it's so much easier with the K. I should have just done it that way. Röntgen. It's the end of the video. I hope that you're a little bit better at conquering some of these common trip-ups in German, making better R's, better CH's, better umlauts, and that you're getting into that learning slow down mode and smashing the like button and subscribing, and just generally more excited to get back to the basics, because, well, the basics are fun and the basics get you such great results. I hope you want to watch this video again, because you'll definitely glean more from it the next time you watch it. Getting back to basics is all about good quality repetitions. Until next time, ULMX, Sprechen ohne Ketten. Language learning, less the desk. Express yourself.